Good
Hello, good
morning.
morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna start with that, and you just
Oh,
I don't know
I
if we're live.
we are.
Oh, we're live. Oh, good,
Yeah.
good.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
What was that mad face for?
That was a drink of coffee to get ready.
Oh,
Yeah, I should have
anger.
probably done that before we kind of started, so we didn't have that weird, awkward man face. But
No, I think that's the best way to start a show.
yeah, with the mad face.
Yep. Our
So
Thanksgiving show.
this is our segment, looking to tomorrow. Because
Yes.
any further than that is way far.
Yeah, too far.
Too far. Should probably just look to today, but
Yep.
it won't work for cryptocurrency. What do you think?
Probably not. It's
Probably
probably
not.
better to look to the future. I mean to tomorrow.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk about, I guess, what is cryptocurrency? Oh, I don't think I got a tab for the blockchain. Um, some of the words that we've been hearing lately, like blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFT, exchanges. I'm kind of just reading the top of the screen for those that are watching and not listening. Um, I'm on a website called CoinMarketCap, and while it does show currently the prices for each of the different currencies that are being sold right now, we're not endorsing any buying of. Well, we're not saying not to buy. We're just not endorsing any particular thing or trying to offer financial advice
Yeah, no, we're definitely not doing that.
because that would be inappropriate.
Yep.
I guess. I don't know. Just
I
kidding.
don't know. I didn't take the training.
You didn't take the
So
training? Oh yeah, the training. The good old work trainings. So we are going to look at, to start off with, I guess we should probably talk about what is blockchain,
yes,
and
please.
then what is cryptocurrency, because
That would be great.
that would be the next step. And then we'll look at those different cryptocurrencies. And the one that probably most people know is Bitcoin, and have probably been hearing more about Ethereum. And on
Hmm.
this list, which is listed by the top market cap order, so that's how they rank them. And so Bitcoin is the biggest by far of money flowing through it, or people invested in it. Probably be a little more accurate. Um, we'll also talk about the metaverse if we have time. Ooh, scary.
Ooh,
Yeah,
metaverse.
yeah, not meta because we don't care about meta,
No.
but the metaverse is a little more fun, and there is some really cool stuff. But bring big wallets if you want to play in the metaverse. So we'll talk about that. Probably got them in the wrong order, but we're gonna do. We'll also try to talk about how to build a blockchain, and that won't probably be covered in this episode, but it will. We'll kind of just glance on it, talk about it for a second, and then we'll
Okay.
talk about some of the YouTubers to make sure that you guys are aware of um, the different angles that they're trying to do to get views and get a little things. And their advice isn't always the best because it's probably a little selfish, but at the same time there are some good YouTubers that have they just give you the information like they should, and you can do what you want with it. And they all do kind of go under the we're not financial advisors, but they play a little along the line. So just definitely always think for yourself. Don't spend every single penny you have. That's usually a good thing, right? It's
Yep.
like gambling. It is like gambling a little bit, but it's not. It's gambling in a different. If it's very comparable to stocks, that's what I would say. It's very comparable to that type of gambling, which isn't really gambling, but sometimes if you're trying to day trade or not just hold, then you can stand to lose things if you're not reading stuff correctly. So let's just do a quick Google search and see what people would find. What is blockchain? IBM has to say about it. Immutable. That's funny. That's a big word. Facilitates the process of recording transactions. So it's basically like a general. It's like a ledger that is public. That's the way that I would describe it. Um, and so it's really just a public tracking system. So if you had a list of what you owned and you put it on the blockchain, then everybody would know what you own. And then when you went to sell something, they would know that you actually owned it and you didn't steal it, things like that. So where does that work?
Like
for?
A title?
Yeah,
I'm curious.
yeah, that's exactly it.
Okay.
There, we'll probably find a cryptocurrency, because that's one of the things we'll get into. Cryptocurrencies are kind of just companies, and you got to understand the difference between the good ones and the meme ones. But it's, yeah, exactly like that. You could put your title out there and have proof of ownership, and that's what NFTs are. They're basically just a title, and you have a proof of ownership, and you have a proof of ownership saying that you own such and such. So you put that on the blockchain, and everybody knows it because anybody could look at it and analyze it at any time. What is really nice is that this list is distributed. So everybody that's part of the network, and when I say everybody, the computers that are part of the network, what did I have a funny face again?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that's funny. Have access to that distributed ledger. And you can't just change it and update it without making, in the ERP world, if you post a transaction like from your general journal, then it would be put on the ledger, and you can't just go in and change it. You would have to make a reversing entry if you want to take it back out. And so then it's very clear and everybody gets to see who did it. And while it's anonymous, and there are cryptocurrencies that you are completely anonymous, and that's part of the ideas, and maybe we'll touch on that in this episode. But it's kind of a longer discussion. But you're not anonymous on most cryptocurrencies, and in the U.S., you definitely can't invest or buy or hold any of those non-anonymous ones, I believe, or the not anonymous, the anonymous ones. You can only have the ones that have a wallet ID. And so it's not like your name's on it or anything, but you have a GUID, which is a really long bunch of characters that identifies your wallet. And your wallet is just like a real life wallet. It can hold different currencies. And so then you would put your cryptocurrencies in it. So then the wallet's role in the blockchain is it's the ID that says who did what. And so then it's very clear on where things come from, where things go, and you don't have everything in the financial world. You don't have everything going through a couple entities. It's validated by everybody on the network, so it's super fast. Hopefully, you don't have to have duplication of effort, because that's what it talks about, and it's really cool. This is what we talked about. You can't tamper with the ledger or anything. So you just add to it, and it can. But you have to add something that reverses the error so everybody can see it. And then you have, which we'll hear a lot about, are smart contracts, and that's what you build. And it's the set of conditions. It's basically like functions and parameters. Or, well, it's procedures, not parameters. Functions, procedures, methods, whatever language you might be in. And it's just your way to interact with the blockchain. And if you don't build a good smart contract, then you can wreak havoc on the blockchain. Because once the entry is submitted, again, you have to reverse it. And we'll get into that, where we have different types of crypto, like different Bitcoins, different Ethereums, because they split because of something that happened like that.
Okay.
So how the blockchain works. I think I got a little ahead of myself because this is actually pretty nice. Um, it's recorded, so each transaction happens, it's recorded, and then each block is connected to the ones before and after it, and then they're grouped together. And you can't once they're validated. So this is where there's another concept where you have gas fees, but with Ethereum, the reason that that is so expensive to do transactions on it, and we'll talk about that, but is when you're trying to get your entry on this ledger, because you got to remember there's like lots of people doing it, lots of networks, lots of nodes in this giant network. So the node is just another computer or somebody that can validate the ledger, or somebody that wants to interact with it, even really. And because you have to get your block before you have to get the whole history before you can do anything on it. But when you want to submit your entry, you give it what they call gas fees, and so you can pay more to get further in front of the in line. So the more you pay, the further in line you get.
It's fast pass.
Yes, it is 100% fast pass.
Okay.
And so then you get into the block, and once you get into the block, it doesn't mean you're in it, because if somebody pays more, you can get kicked out of it, and it's a set defined amount of size. Let's just say 2 kilobytes. I don't know. It has like 20 entries. Let's just make it simple for people that wouldn't be dealing with computers. It's got like 20 spots, and so whoever pays the most gets the first 20 spots. And what happens is, if you aren't in the block that is currently getting ready to get submitted, you'll just get pushed to the next one. And if you don't pay enough gas fees, you'll keep getting pushed down. I think there's a default where you'll eventually get to go through, like, because you've been like a timeout, you've been waiting so long. But no, seriously. And this is what's crazy about what Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis did with their release of their NFTs. They didn't do it, but what happened is everybody rushed on it, and Ethereum's gas prices are like $150. And so what happened was they sold their NFTs, and everybody was trying to buy them, and people didn't understand gas fees, and people that did paid a little more and got on the block. Well, your gas fees are gone even if you get denied. And so then I'm getting an echo from you, I believe.
From me?
Yeah, from you. You can hear background noise, and it would only come from you, probably. So when everybody was trying to rush in and grab the image, because they were selling basically just images, if you get denied, if you don't get in the block, and I'm definitely letting you know it's me. It wasn't coming from outside of your office.
Oh, I'm not. I don't know why that.
Are you monitoring the stream?
I'm not. No, I have it up to where I can see if it's live.
Probably
or not.
me then. See, it's always me. I blame you, and then it ends up being me. So yeah. I guess I'll just have to talk.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what I said. It sounds about right.
I didn't know any of this. Continue.
Yes. So they were selling their images. We'll try to talk on it, but it explains exactly this point. So they were selling their images. Everybody wanted them. Everybody jumped in and tried to buy them. And so the people that got committed to the block got to buy them. Like, there's only one. That's the title part of it. So there's only one, and there was a bunch. But if you wanted the one, 5 people are basically bidding on it like an auction. Unfortunately, that's how it kind of works. And you lose the gas fees. And people bled, like, not individuals, but it might have been individuals, like millions of dollars. Because they kept trying to repeat it, and they didn't understand that money was just disappearing or whatever. We can see the exact thing. But the reason was because they didn't get into that 20 slots and have that block of data committed, which then once it's committed, it's in the chain, and you would have to reverse it out. I mean, it's official. And so that's how this little thing works, which is totally awesome. But in the case of Ethereum, it is the busiest, most used network. That's why it's number 2. And its gas fees are outrageous. And that's why these other these other blockchain protocols, these other protocols, um, are either an extra layer on top of Ethereum to help alleviate gas fees, or they're a totally new blockchain. And so we'll talk about those real quick. And basically, all the major players are in the top, I'd say 50 for sure. And there's thousands of cryptocurrencies. Let's see. There's a number. Yeah, 14,540.
Okay,
And
that's
I
a
would
few.
say if you get outside of the top 100, you're definitely not probably looking at a solid proven project, but it could be a new project. So if it's like a new company, and so or it's a meme coin, like well, some of these are like on the border. Like we'll talk about Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, which is what got me into learning more and more about it. I've always heard about Bitcoin. I always knew about it, but I didn't know really about how all this works. And so let's go back to our little thing. So that's how the blockchain works. Um, Benefits: greater trust, greater security, more efficiencies. So the trust is it's members of members at work, so you can rest assured the data is accurate. And it's kind of like you got to get verified 10 nodes away or something. So it's not like the whole network has to verify you. That's what makes it really fast. Because if the handful of computers verify you, then and it's a certain amount, and it's not like just, oh, what happens if the other thousands don't, and how does that all communicate? It just kind of goes across, and I'm not describing that part really well, but it doesn't matter. It's just as long as the group around you, say your community all validated that you sold the thing, and to the other community member, then that's good enough for the community next door to say, okay, that happened, and just let us know what happens in your community, and as long as it doesn't affect anything that conflicts with another one, because they have those types of checks before you can do too much stuff. Things are validated across more part of the network, and so it really does work really well. So you have that full trust. Everybody gets to see who's doing what. You have blockchain analyzers that give you information. That's also why the government doesn't want you to use the anonymous ones,
Gotcha.
because then what they're going to do if you don't claim your taxes, they're eventually going to get a hold of your GUID for your wallet, because they're going to probably make one of the big exchanges. They probably make them turn them over or something to that effect, and then you have to claim it on taxes. And they're going to be able to go back on it because it is a public ledger. That's how when people steal cryptocurrency, I don't know how they get away with it, like really get anything out, because you got to withdraw the money into some sort of dollar right now, unless you keep it constantly in currency. But you can track every wallet it goes to. So, like, and it usually it distributes like you would think, and then it just sits, and they just sit and wait on it. And everything I've read, they've been able to get back, which makes complete sense, because you would see the whole history of it, and then somebody would have to actually be ponying up money somewhere to withdraw that, because they would pay for that bad cryptocurrency. Now they might not know that it was bad. That's the other thing. So then you would get it into like the public hands, but they're usually pretty good on tracking it down pretty quick, stuff like that. Now there are still bleeds. Now, I'd say the biggest one is somebody that's in charge of the cryptocurrency running away with it. That one's because you can't get it back if you don't have the keys to the wallet. It's like if you forget your password to an email address, right? How many people have done that? How many email addresses do we have out there just floating around that nobody knows? Like they're still collecting up data, and nobody knows.
Gosh.
Nobody's logged into them for like 20 years, right? So
I have at least one.
yeah, I have a few. And so then that helps with the security, and the efficiencies is no time wasting on record consolidations. You can see everything. Help with taxes, reconciliations. So let's see, what is blockchain? Blockchain expanded, traceable supply chain, builds trust. Okay, that'll be interesting because we'll talk about that. Learn how. I think that's what we we just talked? Oh, these are videos. Okay, cool. All right, so public, private blockchains. Pretty much is exactly as it sounds. Yeah.
Like
Other one
a
would
credit
be
union versus a regular bank.
no. It's really think of it like our Discord server, right? So we'd get to decide who comes in and who doesn't. We want everybody because there's nobody that ever comes and joins us. But we have our regular group of our besties, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, we there's a password on it, right? And so that's what that would be. It'd be just like your private network at work, where you gotta have your password to log onto your Wi-Fi or plug in your cable, and then you have your public one, which is like blockchain or blockchain Bitcoin, and everybody gets to participate. And then businesses will deal with probably the private ones, and multiple organizations can maintain the blockchain if it's more private. And then let's see, yeah. When building an enterprise blockchain application, it is important to have a comprehensive security strategy that uses cybersecurity frameworks, assurance services, and best practice to reduce risk against attacks and fraud. I can't stress this enough. When people are building their smart contracts and building a blockchain, you need to make sure you test it. You gotta test. There's companies out there that you can pay that will try to hack it, because that's when you see in the news that such and such DeFi project has been drained of millions of dollars. That's because there was a hole, and in the smart contract, somebody figured out how to manipulate the request to drain all the money out of it, or all the cryptocurrency, depending what they do. And so, got to make sure you test. And so, where can the blockchain be used? Everywhere, especially in the supply chain. Healthcare, government, retail, media and advertising, oil and gas, telecommunications, manufacturing, insurance, financial services, travel and transportation, and funsies.
Oh, just for fun.
Yes, just for
My
fun.
favorite.
Yes, this is where we start separating currencies from blockchain. Oh, of course. Now we're to the sales pitch. Thanks, IBM. You gave us a lot of good information up till then.
Yeah.
And we're at the end anyways, it looks like. Yeah. But I would trust, I wouldn't say I would not trust IBM. I mean, same as Microsoft, that's where I'm going to stop.
Yep.
I mean, not that I trust those two, but you're going to get some decent service out of them.
So. I think I've learned a lot already.
Yeah, we're coming up on our first break, and our only break today, right?
Yep.
We scaled back our actual
our show time.
Yeah, our show time.
Yeah.
And probably increasing frequencies.
Yeah. I think it'll help. Got groceries and stuff to get today. There's lots of things.
Oh, yeah.
Our busy day.
Decentralization of gambling industry will help us achieve its full transparency. Great. So everybody will get to see. There's no secretly spending your paycheck, from your significant other at the casino anymore.
Oh yeah, that old trick.
Yeah, because then somebody will build a DApp, I believe that's what it is, a DApp, to sit on top, and it'll read the blockchain for probably the gambling industry or the multiple blockchains, and it'll look for the wallet. So you'd have to have a secret wallet, but I'm sure that it'll be figured out somehow.
That's a lot of work. Might as well just. Although I guess there's people that have.
Well, I was talking about the
families.
secret. Yeah, I was talking about okay, if you're suspecting it and you can't put your finger on it. I mean, a lot of adults will just say, "Hey, are you doing this?" And then, well, they could deny it. And see, that's the problem, right? I mean, it's like, okay, but then I don't know. We're not getting. That's not this type of show. I guess you go to
Yeah.
Dr. Phil or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe not the best person, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So, but it's
Or just
interesting.
get out.
It's just an interesting thing. So yeah, just get out. That's exactly it. That's what I would say. What is my fingers are not? Well, my fingers never work. Oh, let's see if they got a good explanation to separate them. I like reading other people's explanation and then commenting on it. I do a little better with that than trying to regurgitate a definition. But it's
I
hard
think
to
you're
talk
good
and
at it
read
too.
at the same
Continue.
time. So it's your turn to talk for a second.
Okay. I don't know anything about this stuff that we're talking about, so I'm learning it. I'm ready. I've got questions, but you're doing a really good job. I know. I'm the cheerleader. We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But
Do we have any comments? Do we have any viewers?
I
We have
think
one
Grandma's
person watching. Or is that
Yeah.
you? Or
No,
you
it's
said
not
you're
me.
not watching?
No,
Grandma's watching? Cool. Hey, Grandma.
probably. Hi, Grandma.
Yeah,
I mean, it's your grandma, but
yeah,
I hope
that's
she
fine.
doesn't mind.
No, we'll just go with that. Because we don't want the neighborhood to know that she's watching. Okay. So, this is absolutely true.
What's it say?
The most popular cryptocurrency is Bitcoin.
Yep.
It has volatile price moves. And currently, and we'll go look at prices, hit 65, 66. So, what is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a form of payment that can be exchanged online for goods and services. Many companies have issued their own cryptocurrency, often called tokens, and these can be traded specifically for goods or services that the company provides. Think of them as you would arcade. Great. That's going to help legitimize this. Arcade tokens or casino chips. Right? I mean, that's like horrible. Come on. So think of them as actual currency, like your US or Canadian dollar. But and it's almost exactly like that, because if you get into the meme coins, that you don't know who's printing them. So any argument, like if you're not concerned about the printing of money, cool. And if you are, then meme coins are exactly the same thing. And so just think of it that way, where you can flood the market with a bunch of stuff, people might buy into it, and then you sell your portion, and now there's a bunch of worthless paper, right? Kind of like that happens sometimes. But there are a lot of good ones too. So that's why this is a horrible example, but it is accurate in a lot of cases, especially when they talked about it up here. No, right, coming up, where there's 14,500 different cryptocurrencies. So obviously there's not that many good ones. And I'm sorry to knock on all the developers that are making all these, but come on, guys, you're trying to scam people out of money. So yep, you can exchange them for currency, real goods, and we got 1 minute, so I want to wrap up this section. Cryptocurrencies, and when I say 1 minute, we're coming back. I'm going to try playing some music. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and we will go 5 minutes past so that we have a second half-hour segment. But please, Grandma, don't leave us. Don't, because we need our analytics to show something. Because part of our other other segment is going to be analyzing those really dismal analytics. But cryptocurrency works on a technology called blockchain, which if you're just joining us, that's what we've spent the last 20 minutes talking about. And we were on time today. I want to point that out.
Yeah.
I think that was our first.
I know, we did such a good job.
I know.
We started later than usual too.
I know. It was just rolling.
Warm-up show.
Yep. So blockchain is a decentralized technology that spreads across many computers and that manages and records transactions. Part of the appeal of the technology is its security. So that's where we'll leave off. We've talked about blockchain. We've talked about cryptocurrency. When we come back, I'll read that little sentence again, and we will move right along to looking at them and talking about them.
Okay.
All right, so let's see. How do we? I gotta do something. Let's see. Music. Turn us off. Turn that off. And we'll leave that up. Music playing. Hopefully.
We need a background that says we'll be right back.
Yeah.
I'll work on that. I'll draw one up.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing. I don't know how we do it, but sorry guys, we'll be back. If you're just joining us in the midway point, it's gonna be really confusing. And you probably can't hear us because we got this music that's so fast right now. All right, 5-minute break.
Okay.
You make it back. We're gonna do mission. I can't hear anything.
Hello?
Oh, now I can.
Huh?
For a second, it didn't look like my mic was working.
Oh. Yeah, I couldn't hear you for a sec. Hey, is the music still on?
It was.
Oh,
I turned it off.
nice.
Yeah, it worked out all right. So, and I heard it when I went downstairs.
Oh,
Grandma had the
nice.
stream on. And I caught the
Aw.
tail end of us, and it sounded like we were over it too. So it didn't sound like it was louder than
Sounded like we were what?
us. We were louder than it when it was going.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
All right. So, that's too bad. I'll start recording now. I never hit recording. I mean, we are live and we're recording from the stream, but not the backup video.
Oh, yeah. We need that too.
Yeah, so we'll only have a second half.
That's
After,
okay.
and basically the first half, if you're just joining us, can be summed up right here. So, cryptocurrencies work as a technology called blockchain. Blockchain is a decentralized technology spread across many computers that manages and records transactions. Part of the appeal of this technology is its security.
I have to say that the previous discussion made a lot more sense.
Oh, so this is kind of what you've always heard? And then
Yeah,
the
I'm
other
like,
one was
okay, that's a bunch of words. I mean, but yeah.
We're going to do a deep dive.
Yeah.
So, we talked about what is blockchain and how does it work. IBM helped us a lot with that.
Yes, they did.
And
Thank
they
you,
got a
IBM.
little sales pitch at the end.
Mhm.
So it was cool though. We've talked about there are more than 14,500 different cryptocurrencies traded publicly. And that's according to CoinMarketCap, which is my favorite site for just providing some information. And I wonder what shows better. Let's see. What do you think reads better?
Ooh.
Can
I prefer
somebody
this,
vote?
but
Can we
Can I
take a
vote?
vote? Yeah, let's see. Are you in our chat?
no.
No, you can't vote. And you got to be subscribed to be able to get in our chat.
So Grandma can do it.
Yeah. Grandma, I don't know. If she figures that out, that would be awesome. Not that she couldn't. That's what I'm saying. That she's gonna be
Yeah.
listening.
And maybe
put in some
you
chat.
should be nicer to our one viewer.
Nicer to our one viewer. Yeah. Take Grandma to dinner or something.
All right, I do have the chat now. But I lost it.
All right. Today's cryptocurrency prices by CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap will give you cryptocurrency prices, the major exchanges. You can. I don't have I'm not logged in, so I don't have a portfolio. I don't know. I guess it talks about the NFTs themselves. It's kind of interesting. Or maybe just selling of NFTs, and we'll get into that real quick in a minute. Yeah, your portfolio tracker. So if you bought them on one of the exchanges or somewhere else, then you can enter it into here and track your portfolio. That'd be a really nice portfolio, 100K.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt.
Nope. Well, especially the way it's going right now. So, how much money is invested in here when we look at the money aspect of cryptocurrencies? Because that's what they are a currency that represent something of value. And right now we have $2.6 trillion of hard-earned U.S. dollars, not U.S. dollars, but the representation of it. Yeah, the representation of it is 2.6 trillion, and that's how much money.
That's a silly number.
Yeah, that's how much money is floating around in all this cryptocurrency. And so let's look at this market cap. You can click on it. The site's super cool. And so, if you look back as far as it's been tracking, nobody did anything. You know, it was like super low. We had just barely.
I don't even know if I had a computer in 2013. Okay, I think I did.
$6 billion, $1 billion, $1 billion. Then we had a spike. So this is probably when a lot of people listening heard about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Is in 2018. That's when people was like, oh, we can make some money in this. And it almost got up to $1 trillion, $780 billion. and then it fell. So somebody got some money out of that. Then you had what they call a crypto winter for a long, long, long time. I'm pretty sure. Right in here. Because I wouldn't think that this little spot is really that long. But look at this. This is very depressing, especially if you had just gotten in to your stuff right about here. So you're waiting forever for it to come back. And then you come into things are starting to look promising. Things are starting to come back. And then right about here. See this big drop? That's COVID. So
Oh.
COVID hit.
So, oh, I thought you were going to say crypto got COVID.
Yeah, crypto did get COVID. It did. But it was already, look at this. It was already on a downtrend. It was maybe looking up a little bit, but I would say that in general, somebody couldn't say that was, it might have stopped this growth, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Because what happened was now everybody's at home and everybody's on the internet. And people are watching YouTube and TikToks and whatever else there is. And they're like, oh, there's cryptocurrency out there. I want to get in on this. And they start buying. Look at this. It just goes skyrockets up to $2.3 trillion from, and this is in, let's try to get a year. July till July, yeah.
20,
there's a year.
2020. It's at the bottom.
So, 268 billion. 1 year later, $2.3 trillion. And then you have in May of this year a huge crash. Let's see. Are they gonna let me?
In comparison, yeah.
In comparison, oops. Let's go back to that.
Oh, hello.
I was trying to get the percentage of a drop, but I think it was, if you look roughly, it looks like about 40%. Maybe close to 50. But this is right here. This spike is right here in May when everybody was just jumping into it. Meme coins were exploding. Everybody's jumping in. And all the smart people were like, oh my gosh, this is so hot right now. It's a good time to pull out my money. And so then it basically was a self-fulfilling prophecy and it crashed. There's a lot of theories on that, but I'm just going to go with the rich people knew how to pull out their money at the right time, and it just made everybody else start pulling out their money. And then, for a very short time looking at this chart, it was low, and now, since May, it's at new all-time highs. Something, if you're going to play in this game, I want you to definitely have this always out. This is the Fear and Greed Index for Bitcoin. This is awesome, in my opinion. You want to monitor this because whenever it says extreme greed, you do not want to be buying. That's just like a really good rule of thumb. I mean, not telling you what to buy in, but if you want some sort of metric, and how does they come up with this? They measure volatility, market momentum, social media, they do some surveys, dominance of the different coins, and they go in and explain all their different things. I'm not saying it's time to buy when it says fear. I'm just saying please don't buy when it's extreme greed because it's probably high prices and it's going to come down if you watch it. And so let's go back to that where we had, it was on CoinMarketCap. So we had a drop right here, and that was
9/21. Yeah.
And then they were saying extreme greed a month ago, which would be about right there, I think, ish. And so it went up just a little bit higher, and then now it's on its way back down. And that's where, when you're looking at these things, make sure you just pay attention to what's going on. Now, if you're just buying in the overall trend, because if we look at the stock market, it's going to show. Let's just look at it. I should have taken the NASDAQ, same-ish thing, right? Can I bring
Mm-hmm.
them side by side? I think I can. Yeah. There we go. There we go. I didn't fade out the window like I was doing at my arrow keys. Look at this. Now, the
No, we
difference.
can't see the first one.
Oh,
You can only see the cryptocurrency.
That's too bad. I can't do. Let's see.
We'll have to work on that.
Yeah, we gotta work on that. So, oh wait, is this one it? No, that's not it either. Yeah, so I'm gonna bring it back into the tab. But what you can see if I do, ooh, what's this? I do like old school tricks. Look, flip back and forth. So, but look at the general trend, and then you come over here. If I can click it right. Oh, I'm already on it. Silly. You look at the general trend. Same idea, right? The difference is the time period. So this is a much shorter time period. This is since 1987 is when this is going back to. And so you have what would be all these little things in here amplified as cryptocurrency is growing in popularity. So as a general rule of thumb, if you buy at any time, it's still going to be an okay time, because if everything plays out similar to stock market, it'll just grow in general. And if you think about it, as there's more people born on the planet, there's more workers. There's also, people, passing away. But then at the same time, I think the population growth is accelerating. I mean, like, we're still producing more people than people dying. So then that means you would just, in theory, have more workers, and you would have more quote unquote money in the system. And so then that's why you see this trend, just because it just grows. And it's not because they print it, it's just because the world grows in population. I mean, just look at population trends. I'm sure it's probably going to model this fairly close. It might not, but the drops and stuff are just minor. And so, overall, anytime, but you could be a little smarter and you'll feel a little better. If not smarter, you'll just feel a little better. You'll sleep easier at night if you don't buy at the tippy tops and you get in where it's a little lower. You don't have to wait.
And don't put all your life savings into it.
Yeah, that's always definitely it. But it is really interesting. So, speaking of investing, where do you go? There are tons of places that will steal your money, and people will hack it and take it. If you're on CoinMarketCap, here are the top ones that they list, but only some of them we can use in the US. So you have to pay attention. But Binance is the largest by far, but they have a US one that we're allowed. So I think anyone that says US dollar. So the largest one in the US would be Coinbase. And then I believe, we can use Kraken, we can use KuCoin, we can use Bitfinex.
Just based on the lead-in, these are the safe ones, right?
No.
So there's a lot of places that will steal your money.
Yes.
And then we started
and that's
are these?
I'm naming off the ones that you can buy in the U.S. without getting in trouble with the government. Yes, that is a very good distinction. Some of the ones I named off aren't necessarily quote unquote safe, because some of them you got to jump through some hoops and stuff. And that's what I'm gonna just have everybody settle on 3. And one's not listed in here. I don't like them, but I'm gonna list them anyways because they're kind of safe. So, crypto.com. Yeah, see, they're not listed, and there's an app for that, so that's an interesting one. Gemini is the Winklevoss twins. Remember the Facebook guys? And so they're the ones that started Gemini. That's a really interesting story if you want to look into that. And so the ones that you probably would want to use if you were going to buy: Coinbase and Binance, and not in that order. I personally use a lot more Binance, but that's just because that's the one I started on, and that's where everything's at. And they both list different ones, and we'll click on. Let's see if we can we'll go to Coinbase, and we will also go to Binance. They're relatively the same. And oops. Oh, okay, I lost that tab. So let's just go back here, and then Binance US. Make sure you go to Binance US because the regular Binance. And if you live in New York, sorry, Anthony, you're out of luck. We've talked about that a lot.
There's an Anthony in New York going, how they know?
How they know? Yes, exactly.
How
Out
did
of
they
all
know
our
me?
3 viewers, he's probably not even a subscriber.
I don't think so.
But
We'll have
yes,
to
in
tell
New
him we
York,
talked
New
about it.
York, and I think Texas have some seriously strict rules. And so when you look at what you can trade on Binance, for instance, here's all the stuff that we're allowed to trade in the U.S. And they're constantly adding new ones, and you can sort them in any way. But I would sort them definitely by market cap. So you look at which ones are a little more legitimate than the ones at the bottom. See the ones without anything in here? They're not legitimate. It's just like I'll talk a lot about Mana if you listen to this channel. But Solana, that one's awesome, but they don't list it here, and we'll see that's in the top 10, I believe now. I think it's number 4 or something. So why doesn't it have it in there? But it's not always a rule of thumb, but definitely pay attention. That's why I use CoinMarketCap because there is accurate. And see, we're Solana number 5 now. So that's an awesome network. So back to the exchanges, and we only got a few minutes left, so I gotta zip through this because I don't want to leave people hanging. Binance,
people sitting on our viewers sitting on the edge of their
sitting on the edge of their seat, and Coinbase, and use Coinbase Pro. Don't let the Pro part fool you. You just get a better interface, and Coinbase and Coinbase Pro are not the same thing. I mean, they are by the same company, but you can't transfer stuff. But both of these are pretty good. And one thing, I'm not going to go out on a limb about Binance because all of them, the third one's Robinhood. And I don't like them because you don't have you can't transfer things directly out of a wallet. So you don't get access to your wallet. They have a public wallet. So you get a representation of how much you have in that wallet. So it's not really yours. All the rest of them you can transfer in and out as you desire. You can store them cold storage. That's where you put it on like a USB drive. If you forget your password, sorry about your money. You can't hack it because that's kind of the point, and all that. So that's why I like these two. But Robinhood's perfectly acceptable. It's friendly if you already buy stocks on it. So sorry, Joe. I know that's the one you use.
I think he's a subscriber.
I think he is. He tried to watch one time, I think, too. But let's look at the projects. You can click on each of these on CoinMarketCap. That's why I like this. And they will give you some awesome statistics that probably will confuse you a little bit. Right now, out of that $2.6 trillion, 1.1 is CoinMarketCap. Or CoinMarket is Bitcoin. Jeez. And
Sorry,
right here, I know. Right here, we'll give you a nice little talk about what is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a decentralized cryptocurrency originally designed by somebody that they haven't identified, but there's court cases now, and they're starting to think they know who it is. But it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The way you would think of Bitcoin, compare it to gold. That's why Bitcoin's awesome, as far as it's a little different than printing paper money, like some of the other networks, some of the other cryptocurrencies. Because I think of them as networks. They're just networks. But there is a max supply. So when you hear people mining, they're basically going and processing on an algorithm, I believe, and we'll talk way more about that later. But
okay, thank you.
Basically, they're trying to produce, just like gold. They're out in a gold mine, and so it's a Bitcoin mine, and they use their computers and steal everybody's graphics cards, all that stuff, because that's what they use to mine them. And they are trying to achieve the maximum of 21 million. As the early ones were super easy to mine. As it gets higher and higher, it gets harder and harder and requires more and more energy. Can you mute your phone? Is that you with the vibrating?
I did. That's my sister. She keeps texting me.
Yeah, it was like every 5 seconds.
Shanna, quit texting me. She's not watching.
Yeah, there you go.
I know. I was
There's
like,
her shout out. Yep. She had a shout out for about the last minute of bzz, 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 bzz. And so why doesn't she just type one really, really long one instead of a whole bunch of little short ones? You know? I don't know.
Because then my phone wouldn't go off every 5 seconds.
I know. So back to this real quick. So it's like gold. Currently, there are 18 million, almost 19 million mined. As you get towards the end of this 21 million, it gets harder and harder. It requires more and more energy, more and more computers. So we're getting to a point where we're probably never going to see 21 million, but and you have to be a part of a centralized group, and it's like there's a whole big thing. But that's why there's a limit. That's why if you own a Bitcoin and all of them get sold, what's going to happen? Just like gold, it's going to go up because people will want it, or it will be something of value. It's a store of value. And so that's why this one's a little different than some of the other ones. There are other ones that are like that, but keep in mind Bitcoin.
And you said that we'll go into more detail on mining?
Yeah, on mining and as a specific topic.
Okay, good, because it sounds like a pretty cool.
Anybody can do it. Really, anybody can do it. I think they even mining on your phone. You can. Helium is one where it's like sharing Wi-Fi network usage on this little box, and you earn by having the box. If you go buy the box and plug it in and hook it up to your network and share your Wi-Fi through it, then you can earn cryptocurrency because it's helping.
And that counts as mining? Yeah,
that counts as mining. Yeah, exactly. It's a very generic term, but in Bitcoin's case, there is a maximum supply. Ethereum, on the other hand, is a completely different animal. And so Ethereum, what do you see? Notice here, no max supply. It's interesting, huh?
Yep.
You're like, uh-oh. Why does everybody want to play it?
Uh-oh.
So, this guy is pretty cool. This guy, I mean, not when I say cool, they are very active in the cryptocurrency community. Charles Hoskin, he helped create Ethereum, and then he's broke it off and created Cardano. And then this is where we're going to talk about the Ethereum fork. And so this is a really interesting story of if you're a programmer. Let's just cover that and we'll end with that. Because this is really interesting to understand. When you look at this, I want to go back real quick. And we're going to go to the overview. You see Bitcoin. You see Ethereum. You see Binance Coin. Let's scroll down. A bunch of these other ones. And then I come to Litecoin. I'm trying to find Bitcoin Cash with the same name as it. And Ethereum Classic. So there's Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. It's kind of confusing. You can buy both on Robinhood because Robinhood has the most limited menu. So, but they list those two, which is interesting. What happened was, I got to go into the story. So you got to understand this is code. And earlier, if you were listening to our first half, I was talking about building a good blockchain and smart contracts. And so, I gotta find where it's at.
I was just about to say.
And so, yeah, I know. Well, I got everybody on the edge of their seats. I was hoping to read it, but I was gonna. It doesn't look like they went into detail. So this must be where they're talking about the upcoming network upgrade. And let's see. ETH versus ETH Classic. Okay. So, the history gets quite complicated and technical. A simplified summary of the altcoins might go something like this. So here's the history of Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. Developers created a DAO. So some developers created a decentralized autonomous organization, DAO, on Ethereum with the goal of funding future development of decentralized applications. So some company built their little project on top of Ethereum's network. Okay. It had its own tokens and they were interchangeable, and they were doing, they could be, their own tokens would be exchanged with Ethereum, right? That's how they interact with it. So then they do their own interactions, and then they commit their ledger to the Ethereum's ledger in one big swoop, right? So think of everybody fighting for those spots. Well, what if you have a company helping you, right? So then they can pay a higher gas fee because they have everybody gathered up, and they're going to do it in one big chunk, right? They're going to buy the whole block. And so let's just put it that way. And so then that's why they build these other layers on top of Ethereum. And so what happened was some hackers found a flaw in their smart contract and stole $50 million worth of Ethereum. So the community decided that the network, and okay, if you remember, the fundamental of the blockchain is that you have to put in a reversing transaction if you want to take something out. Well, in this case, it was legitimate. They found a flaw, they pulled it out. I mean, they hacked it, but the transactions are there. And so what they decided to do is they decided to allow, see, they don't go into it. They basically forked the code because the developers split. They were like, no, that's part of the dangers of, you have to make sure you test your stuff, and you got to make sure you do a good smart contract. It's not our fault that this company lost 50 million. Another set of the developers said that if you're going to make a good network, you have to allow for these types of things. And so they wanted to add in extra security around that to reverse transactions, basically, right? And that's it's kind of interesting, but it was needed. I would agree with that decision, but that's when it split. And so you have Ethereum, and you have the old blockchain called Ethereum Classic. And so
so in Ethereum Classic, you don't need a reversing entry? Is it not?
That's what I think. We'll dive into it a little more, but that's the big difference. And if you want to buy into the real one, buy into Ethereum and not Ethereum Classic, but there is still use of Ethereum Classic. So there's people that build projects on it, and it's still out there. So that one's not a bad buy. But don't be confused when you see the two and you think, because if you look, I gotta go back. Let's compare the prices. So Ethereum right now is trading at $4,296 per Ethereum coin. If you come down and find Ethereum Classic, which its market value, that was number 2 with Ethereum. Ethereum Classic is 33, and it's selling for $50 per coin. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to buy the cheaper one, right? That's normal, just buying and selling when you don't know about them. So that is not the logic that you want to use when buying cryptocurrency. Just because it has a smaller value does not mean that it's good or bad. And because it has a big value does not mean it's good or bad. You need to understand what they're trying to do with it and what it is. And you don't have to buy a whole coin. You can buy like fractions. You can buy 0.00001. There are limits. Like the exchanges don't want you to buy like $5. They do have like minimums of like $20.
I'd like to buy $5.
Yeah, exactly. But there are different ways to do that. You can pay for things now in cryptocurrency if you sign up to PayPal and some other sites that will allow you to put your cryptocurrency wallet ID on there and transact against it. And so there's a whole big world to get into. Like all our tabs we didn't even touch. How to build the metaverse. So the metaverse is the NFTs, that's when we show you how to build. We're going to build NFTs.
I can't wait.
That's going to be awesome. And then we have our YouTubers. I hate to cut us off, but I do want to kind of stick to the hour. What do you think? How much more time do you got?
Well.
No? Yeah, we'll stick to it. So we'll get into our YouTubers. Now, I want to touch on them real quick because if you're super excited and you're going to gather information, there's a lot of information out there. We'll just put it. And so I'm slowly flipping through some of the people that I watch. How do you get 2 spots? Do you get 2 spots?
No.
No, this was just generic. Okay, I got 2 spots. I like George, and so here's some others. And Jordan. Oh, I like Jordan. I didn't list them in any particular order. This guy. Okay, when you see a lot of these faces across this whole channel, I like him, but he's more entertainment. Just keep that in mind, okay? Because everything's like, oh man, this is going crazy, this is going up, this is going down, it's the best in the end of the world. And if you look at it on a day-to-day basis, that's absolutely true, and he knows it. But he's definitely entertainment. And he gives some good information, but just when you're watching YouTubers, I only pick on him because it was easy because I watch him.
That sounds like our show.
Yeah, it's just like our show, just like our show. Don't take it seriously, but you might get a tidbit of information. But we don't do silly faces. But that's what Jordan, he makes fun of it.
Silly faces all day.
I know. He makes fun of it, but his is always this. And it's funny. And sometimes he does like, he had his funny face and stuff like that. But he just does straight analytics. He gives it to you the way it is. He reads the charts. Predicting the charts are tough because you don't have tons of history in a lot of this stuff. And he takes viewers' questions and stuff. So I like him. Then we have Crypto Gal, and she gives a lot of good information. And then we have George. George is really straightforward. He's a holder, so his advice is buy when it's buying the dips and hold. Hold. You end up with.
I love his pictures. They're awesome. Yep. I'm like, this is going to be serious. Let's find out what he has to say.
Yep. And then we got Crypto Casey. Like her, she's got a very set format. I like how she's got her taglines, and she's got a really clean YouTube presentation. I like it. I really like it. Watch her videos because you'll hopefully you'll pick up what I'm saying. So I like what she's doing. And so then and then you got Ben. He's one of my more favorites, and he's pretty smart on the way of he knows what he's got because he does his Patreons. He charges a pretty penny for his information, and he provides analytics and stuff from a mathematical standpoint, which is really interesting. And I've watched him over the last 7-8 months that I've been paying attention to the charts, and he's been pretty good. And so he would be a person that I would kind of pay attention to. He's not a fanboy where he's gonna say, oh yeah, you're gonna make tons of money. He looks at the long term. And I'm not saying his advice is the best. You got to look at everybody's, just like anything in the world. You listen to a bunch of different input and then make your own decision. Do what's best for you and your people around you, right?
Yep, exactly.
And don't get caught up in the hype, even though it's fun.
So, oh my gosh, yeah, you can take that from experience, huh?
Yeah. That's what for I kept buying into Dogecoin when it was skyrocketing in April, I believe is about when it was. And so then, when you're looking at it on a day-to-day basis, you see all these drastic ups and downs, and then after you get used to it, that's just normal. So, and Dogecoin, don't be careful because it's a meme coin, but it is a very popular meme coin. So don't think of it in the same way, but you do got to still think of it that way. So that's it.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, we're back to IBM. Man, why is they getting all this advertising today? We need to advertise for. If you don't know, there's this awesome website.
That's us.
Yeah, that's us.
That's an accurate representation of what we look like in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your face isn't that big, but
I think it's kind of funny. Maybe
the expression.
It's like a potato head. I got a potato head. and everyone, we are going to mint our images. So they will not be for sale, but we will go through them. How to do that? It is insanely fun and cool, and we're gonna try to find a network that we can do it cheaply on. Because if you try to mint them on Ethereum, it's like $150. So, all right, I guess that's it.
Yeah, and that's all in-house art.
Yeah. If you want to contract Darcy out, she is taking. What is that? What is that called? Where you do it in the art world? Like, you know what I'm saying? Commissions. She will do commissions.
Yes,
so if you need artwork for your website, you know, if you're trying to do state of the art web, you know, art for the website.
State of the art. State of the art stick figures.
State of the art stick figures. No, seriously. If you think your kid is not cutting it on their drawings and you need somebody to turn in their kindergarten homework,
you need an older lady to do it for you.
So, and if you didn't notice, we would like to say Happy Thanksgiving to everybody that celebrates that holiday. We are wearing our festive hats. If you notice that we have our turkeys on our heads.
Yep.
So we will not be on for a little while, probably. I don't know. We'll just see.
Yeah.
Pay attention to our website. You know, you definitely want to come and check on the lab and see what's cooking. I might get in trouble because I think that's Rock's slogan.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, he does like a smell. I think there's a smell part to it. He smells what's cooking, something like that. That's where he does his big sniff when he was in the room.
Yeah, I don't know.
Graham and I just watched Jungle Cruise, so.
Oh, nice.
Yep. All right. I guess we'll talk to everybody later.
Bye.
Bye.